0.001%, right, of people maybe have made it that way. But people love to look at those things like some sort of mythological story where they can go, well, that guy made it, I can do it too. It's like, dude, put the fries in the fucking bag, idiot. What are you doing? Fill out the job application. You're not going to make money out of thin air. Give up.
Bless you. Thanks so much for tuning in. I have a reflection for you today entitled Sports Betting is Exploding. And I'd like to comment on this recent development in our American life of digital and online sports betting, because it's not a small deal at all. But
No,
first,
it's not.
I better have a sip
A sip?
of my coffee.
Oh.
Let me start this reflection
For a
by
second-
making a simple...
For a second, I thought he said I need to have a cig. He would have just busted out a... That would have been fucking hilarious. That would have been base, dude.
information
Super
that any American
base.
slightly attuned to the condition of our nation at the moment will understand. The USA is in a financial catastrophe as a nation. We have something like, what, I think $36 trillion debt, and it's maybe 37 now. It's changing so quickly. We
Every
also,
hour.
besides being in the greatest amount of corporate debt that we've ever had, national debt, the whole country is gripped right now by the effort of the Trump
Whoa.
administration and its Department of Government Efficiency to
Not a
try
good
to
picture.
reduce our expenditures and waste. We're trying to just push to try to get to a balanced budget, to actually have remove waste in such a way that we can actually stop further indebting ourselves. We're not trying to actually solve the debt. The first step in solving the debt
Stop
is
the bleeding.
actually stopping the disease
Yeah,
of
yep.
overconsumption, the greed that is compelling our nation nationally and personally, because it's not just a national problem, of course. The national catharsis is a projection of the lack of virtue of its citizenry. It's not just our national debt that
No.
has skyrocketed in such outrageous proportions, in such criminal malfeasance of governance for successive presidencies, but our personal credit card debt in our history has never been like this ever. More people are in a greater amount of personal credit.
Holy shit. This is the average credit card debt per person by state. Ohio, 5.4. Okay. I mean, that's high, but it's not as high as some of these other ones. Holy shit. Dude, I have 0 credit card debt. And for some reason that hurts my credit score. I don't know how, but I try and pay that shit off as quickly as it comes. I use my credit card, but I try and just pay it off instantly. Dude, look at DC's. Washington, D.C. has the highest credit card debt per person. That makes sense because last time I was in D.C., there was a lot of homeless people and it was dog shit. And it was, honestly, I couldn't even believe it was our capital.
Card debt than in the history of our land. This is a crisis of immense proportions that has terrible consequences on the lives of many, many people. Add to that the sorrow of the explosion of sport.
I will say this, though. I will say this. I believe most of the credit card debt in America is held by women. Statistically, I think it's held I think it was like 80% of it or something like that. Like a high amount. Don't quote me on that, but something like that is held by women. So do with that information what you will. When the feminists say, well, women couldn't have credit cards until the 70s. Come on. I mean, hello. Now they have credit cards, and I think they hold the vast, vast majority of it. So do with that information what you will.
It's betting, and we have really a quagmire of financial irresponsibility that simply must stop. 40% of Americans now admit to betting on sports, and we just had the Super Bowl last Sunday, and of all the sports events
Dog shit.
of the year, the Super Bowl is bet on the most. And I don't mean a little bit bet on. In the billions. I think in 2024, something like $1.25 billion was bet. It's estimated that this last Super Bowl a week ago was, or almost 2 weeks, was 1.39 billion. Until 2018, it was completely illegal. May 14th of 2018. That's like yesterday. The Supreme Court, on the request of the state of New Jersey, overturned our national laws that limited gambling on sport to the state of Nevada. Since that time, in just those few years, less than 7 years, 38 states plus Washington, D.C. have legalized sports gambling. Online sports gambling is becoming worse and worse. Companies like DraftKings, which now have a $20 billion market cap and are owned by Vanguard, BlackRock, T. Rowe Price, they're all in.
They're owned by
all of these.
Whoa! They're owned by BlackRock and Vanguard, dude. Like, I didn't even know that, but it seems like every single shit ass company you find that you're like, what are they doing? You know, you're like, what is this shit? Every single one, BlackRock or Vanguard has a majority share. They're majority shareholders, or they have at least have a high stake in them. Ridiculous. This is crazy. And who's it run by? Who is it? Larry Fink? Larry Fink? Huh?
Massive conglomerates are in. FanDuel, Fox News Corp has something like a 2.5% stake. Disney has billions in ESPN Bet. The NBA, Major League Baseball, they're all, as organizations, are now getting up to their necks in formally supporting and participating in betting. Besides this
also, when sports betting became legal in Ohio, which was last year, I think, or the year before or something, I remember, dude, oh my gosh, the amount of ads I saw trying to get me to get into gambling, get into sports betting. Oh, FanDuel, get a free $100, get a free this. And I had friends who would come up to me and say, hey, Jake, hey, you should sign up for this. Here, get this link. It gives us both free $100 to bet. And I'm like, no, dude, I don't want to deal with that. I've like told them, it's like, I don't need to add another vice in my life. I don't need to get into gambling. I don't even know if I would really like it, but like, I don't want to test it, man. I don't want to get that dopamine rush of like, whoa, I just won $50. Whoa, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna go again. Like, no, I don't need that shit. And so I just like never downloaded that shit. I'm never downloading that shit. Fuck that. I don't, I like sports. I watch sports, but I don't like them enough to fucking start gambling my money on them, right? Adorable Waffles says, I still see those ads all day, every day. I see a lot less of them. I saw them like every day on every website, on YouTube, on everything when they first came out. But now I see a lot less of them. I just rejected it completely. I just don't need another vice right now. I already have too many to begin with, and I need to start cutting back on those. But yeah, it's something about it. It really is an immoral thing because it's addicting, first of all, but also it's like you're trying to create wealth from nothing. You're trying to create wealth from not real means. Like, wealth comes from work and determination and years of effort. It doesn't come from just, I'm throwing down one bet on the Super Bowl and all in. Like, and there's a lot of bums out there. I see like XQC doing them Gamba streams, right? And they're funny and they're entertaining, but like he puts $100,000 down on something because he's rich, right? And it's whatever to him. I think he put money on Kamala Harris or whatever to win the presidency, and he lost a bunch of money. He probably hedged his bet with Trump, but regardless, it's like I see a lot of people who are like, dog, you don't even have a job, and you're putting $50 down on the fucking Super Bowl. Like, why? Why are you doing this? It's like, well, because you're a lazy bum and you don't want to work and you don't want to put the time and the effort to actually procure skills and create something of value. You just want to, much like the bankers, right? The bankers at a higher level, right, are doing this, but they do the same thing. They speculate on these types of investments and they make money out of nothing. And it's just horseshit.
It's legalization which has driven the increase of betting. So, what shall I say, un-American, traditionally un-American. This increase has also been driven by tech, by digital tech, being able to take your phone and make a bet, mobile betting, peer-to-peer gambling. This is all driven gambling out the roof. $7 billion was spent in 2018. This last year, $150 billion.
Oh my gosh.
And that's not even addressing the issue of casino multiplication, which
So
has been
7
going
billion
on now.
7 billion in 2018, which was 7 years ago, and now it's 140 billion. Holy man.
For some years. We used to have here in California until 1987. In 1987, we began to allow Indian reservations to have casinos. We knew that wherever casinos go, crime increases, drug use increases, divorce increases, abuse of all kinds increase. But we justified it here in California that somehow we were paying back the Indians because we were helping them get more money, even though we knew it was going to destroy their own culture, this swimming and gambling. In fact, this has been a massive spiritual problem in our whole country. Sports betting, the explosion of gambling has terrible consequences. It's not innocuous, it's not without harm. And it has been a reversal of traditional American prudence culturally on this subject, sadly. The National Council on Problem Gambling estimates some 5 million Americans are compulsive gamblers. Living beyond one's means, which is the huge temptation for people who have compulsive gambling problems, is a form of greed.
Yeah.
And the scriptures teach us that debt is a form of slavery.
Yeah.
And gambling, as a fact, affects the
sloth,
poor
too.
more than anyone else.
It's a form of sloth as well.
It stokes the passion.
Like we
of
were
the-
just saying, people are just lazy and they go, oh, like the lottery tickets. It's like, if I just get this lottery ticket and I just scratch off the winning numbers, I'll make $1 million in 1 second and then I don't ever have to work again. And they live this kind of day by day, second by second life, just trying to get scraps. And hopefully they hit it big, so then they never have to actually, pick up a freaking broom. Or actually make something of themselves. That's just never how anybody has made it ever. 0.001%, right, of people maybe have made it that way. But people love to look at those things like some sort of mythological story where they can go, well, that guy made it, I can do it too. It's like, dude, put the fries in the fucking bag, idiot. What are you doing? Fill out the job application. You're not going to make money out of thin air. Give up.
The love of money, which is a form of, produces unbelievable evils. And gambling addiction in our country is simply huge, at an all-time high. And it, of all addictions, more than alcohol addiction, more than illegal substance abuse addiction, gambling addiction has by far the highest rate of suicide associated with it.
Yeah.
Love for people should drive us not to participate and associate in these things. I don't have to bring in, I don't think, the witness of the early church, people like Clement of Alexandria in his famous catechetical text, the educator who censures this gambling as a type of passion, or Tertullian in his treatise against the spectacles, who criticizes gambling as something that Christians don't participate in, St. Cyprian of Carthage, and many bishops and synods.
It's
over
usury.
the years,
It's
especially
basically
in
like
recent
usury.
times, have spoken out.
And that's a sin.
I know that here in America, the late Metropolitan Maximus of Pittsburgh had a policy that any priest who allowed any forms of gambling as fundraisers in their parishes would lose his year's vacation, would be taken away from him, and any parish council chairman who endorsed and supported such a thing would be removed. We need to say something because this is a great temptation and wreaking terrible havoc on people's lives. Let's be wise. Let's be wise. Let's try to live within our means. Let's try to resist the temptations for the love of money and for illicit gain. Let's work hard and ask
Exactly.
God to bless.
Yes.
And may the Lord help everyone who's so tempted by gambling, especially those who are suffering addictions. May the Lord give them freedom and keep you safe. God be with you.
Very good. That was a good video. I think he's right. It's like, man, if you just put like an ounce of the amount of work you're putting into trying to cheat the fucking system into actually putting it into work, you might actually have something worthwhile and long lasting. But instead, you're out there scratching freaking lottery tickets. You're out there betting on the sports betting. And it's showing basically nothing, because almost everybody I've talked to about sports betting, they come to you instantly and they go, "Oh, I'm like $800 in the hole." It's like, if you came to me and you said, "I'm up $1,200, I would go, "Hey, at the bare minimum, I think, well, you're doing something right with that, at least with money." But it's like, dude, none of these people are even winning. These people are just losing. You're just burning your money. You might as well just burn that shit. Like, it's just ridiculous.